Now, I get the feeling that the anti-racism movement for some is just a front, a sort of a cover for attacking Western civilization, especially British civilization. The latest couple of examples just in the last few days. I thought anti-racists, silly me, were against cultural appropriation. I mean, I heard them complain that white actors were playing or voicing black characters. They complained that even when white women were wearing cornrows or braids in their hair, which we're told are actually black hairstyles. You can't do that. Yet in Britain, the press is right now praising a black model, Jodie Turner-Smith, for playing a white queen, a very real white queen, Anne Boleyn, one of the murdered wives of Henry VIII. She most certainly was not black. And then there was a debate at Cambridge University, one of Britain's best, behind Oxford and St Andrews, a debate at Churchill College, named after the great Prime Minister who saved Britain in World War II, calling Winston Churchill a white supremacist who led an empire that was worse than the Nazis. Joining me from London, as always on a Monday, is Britain's best social commentator, Brendan O'Neill, editor of the online magazine Spiked. Brendan, how much longer do you think before there is a backlash against what seems to me, I've got to say, at times, a total intolerance of British history and culture, a vilification of it?
I hope there is a backlash soon, and I think lots of people feel very uncomfortable with the kind of thing you've just been talking about. You know, these academics at Cambridge saying that the British Empire was worse than the Nazis. Churchill was worse than the Nazis. I mean, this is just grotesque moral equivalence. This is just a grotesque moral cowardice, an unwillingness to say that there was anything good about Britain and its history, and an unwillingness even to say that there was anything good about Britain standing up to the Nazis. It also trivializes the Holocaust. When you say that the Holocaust was similar to other empires, you are trivializing the greatest crime in history. We have all got criticisms of the British Empire, but this was not a conscious effort to exterminate an entire people, which is what the Nazis did. So they are trivializing the barbarism of the Holocaust. They are whitewashing the good stuff in British history, and they are promoting this view of Britain as a repugnant, grotesque country. So people, I think, are getting really irritated with the academic elites who are saying these kinds of things.
Yeah, what worries me is that I wonder whether you're taking too optimistic a view, and that you're, I think, implicit in your comments is that you're accusing them of insincerity, when I fear they might actually believe this. That's the freaky thing for me. And what is of even more concern, I think, to a lot of people is that increasingly impossible to argue back, because you're either banned from speaking in the first place, or if you do speak, you run the risk of being damned as a racist or charged by police, particularly in Britain. Some of the cases there are amazing, or having your business actually ruined. Is that fear in Britain growing?
Yes, it is. People are very worried about the state of freedom of speech over here. Lawrence Fox's political party called Reclaim, they've just done a poll, a freedom of speech poll, which finds that around 50% of Brits feel that they cannot speak honestly about issues that are important to them and important to the country, especially on issues like immigration and transgender rights, which of course are the issues on which the liberal elites and the left promote a particular view and demonize anyone who takes the opposite view. So if you say that you have an issue with mass immigration, you're denounced instantly as a racist. If you say you believe that there is such a thing as biological sex and that born males should not be allowed to enter into women's spaces, you are denounced as transphobic. If you criticize any aspect of Islam, of course, you are denounced as Islamophobic. So all those denunciations that are made of people who simply hold legitimate moral viewpoints or dissenting political viewpoints, all of those denunciations are now having an impact. And lots of people are censoring themselves and feeling like they can't express their true opinions.
Now, Brendan, just quickly, it seems your government, the Boris Johnson government, may be taking action, fines even to, well, they've got plans to fine universities and student bodies for stifling free speech, which goes a bit further than our own government's plans, I've got to tell you. Tell me quickly about it.
Yeah, so the government is going to appoint a free speech champion to ensure that universities and student unions stop censoring people that they don't like. I'm glad that the government is taking this seriously, because if we don't have freedom of speech in universities, which are supposed to be citadels of intellectual experimentation, if we don't have it there, then we really can't have it anywhere. Whether fines and censure is the right approach to cultivating a culture of freedom, I'm not entirely convinced, but we definitely need action to stop universities turning into the censorious places where people can't speak their minds.
I agree with you completely. The fines seem to be fighting fire with fire instead of, I would have hoped to shame them into allowing free speech, but maybe shame is dead. Brendan O'Neill, pleasure always to speak to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Andrew.